Second clarification.
Yeah.
Similar time in your life, you also took all of your clothes off to go to the toilet. Do you still do that?
I don't do that
No?
anymore.
Okay. Interesting.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Why are you such a fuck up, Lloyd?
Is that a good censor?
Yeah, you did well there.
Probably mucked up the sound, but I tried to get the timing right. Just saying behind the camera that our ads keep getting disapproved because of our foul language, Dan.
So you're going to censor me live?
I'm going to try.
Okay, cool.
Which will be a great listening experience for the listeners. But to answer your question, obviously a horrible question to ask me, Dan. Thank you very much.
Sorry, that is a pretty
start the
harsh way to
episode.
start the pod.
I don't think I am, actually.
Okay.
But I do think I've beeped up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I think, in all seriousness, I think social media is filled with highlight reels, and we're guilty of this. Always, sharing the good bits, and it kind of makes sense from a marketing perspective. But we want to do something a bit different on this episode, and we want to talk about our mistakes and things that we mucked up, because we mucked a lot of stuff up last year. Yeah,
I think a lot of businesses had a challenging 2023. A lot of the business community we've spoken to have said similar things, and we had an up and down year. We had the highest highs we've ever had,
and the lowest
and
lows.
we not the lowest lows, but we had a really challenging time in the middle of the year as well. So we had to learn a lot this year. So obviously, fuck some stuff up. Had to learn from it, and we're hopefully going to go through those things and help you not make those mistakes as well. If it helps a couple of people, that would be great.
Yeah. Talking of mistakes.
Yeah. It's a mistake me talking over you when you try and
Oh,
stuff.
sorry, no. No, we haven't podcasted for a while.
No, go ahead.
Can I tell you about something I mucked up over the Christmas period that's nothing to do with business or marketing?
Because I know what you're going to say, I would love to hear this then.
So, quick story. I love cheese on toast. I remember when I was a kid, I always used to have cheese on toast and ask mum and dad to make me cheese on toast for breakfast. And I still like cheese on toast now.
Sorry, stop you there.
Yeah.
I remember when we were kids, you were told to stop having cheese because it was giving you migraines because you're eating so much. Is that still a thing?
I did stop eating cheese for a while, and now I eat cheese again.
Okay. Second clarification. Yeah. Similar time in your life, you also took all of your clothes off to go to the toilet. Do you still do that?
I don't do that anymore.
No? Okay. Interesting. Okay, carry on the story.
Thanks.
Just good to clarify that.
Thanks for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
So I love cheese on toast. Over the Christmas period, we had some lovely cheese, as you do, right? Left over. And I thought, I'm going to make myself some delicious cheese on toast. So I saw on the side, there was a new cheese grater that Christelle must have bought on the side. Nice. So Christmas cheese grater. So I got grating, and I grated my cheese on my cheese on toast, cooked it, ate it, loved it. Next day, loved it so much that I did it again, and I
cooked it, ate it, loved it.
Cooked it, ate it, loved it.
That should go on some merch.
Yeah. And then a few days later, Christelle said something horrifying to me. She said, why is my foot grater in the dishwasher?
Oh, I knew it was coming, but it still makes me cringe.
Yeah.
So you've just been eating...
And she'd used it loads as well. Oh. She even soaked her feet for like 2 hours to really grate it off the night before I did the cheese on toast.
One of the bits, there's lots of things I love about this story. But one thing is, I love that you love the cheese on toast so much after using the foot grater the first time. You're like, I want more of that foot cheese. Yeah.
It's just so horrible. And Lloyd keeps telling everyone that we meet at the story.
I will continue to tell everyone that story because it's the best thing that's happened to me for a while.
Yeah.
I like that.
Going back to our theme of business and marketing, Lloyd, and helping the anchors outside of cheese grater stories. Yeah. What's one of your biggest fuck ups from last year, and what did you learn from it?
So I think potentially the biggest fuck up for me last year in the business was not managing risk well enough. I think normally it's something that I'm actually very good at, and I think still the extent of this fuck up could have been much worse if I wasn't good at it. But I said in the intro about our ups and downs last year, where we had some massive highs, and the reason that some of last year was challenging is because we had a very short period where we had basically a gap between big projects that we were working on, And so our income for 2 months wasn't as high as we were planning it to be, and in line with the resources we had in the business.
And we lost loads of money.
Yeah. For that short period, we lost shitloads of money. And obviously had to really learn from that. And there's, I think probably being quite harsh on ourselves because it was just a challenging situation. And we know of agencies and people in our space that went out of business at a similar time to this and laid off a load of their staff and stuff. So overall, positive that we got through this period and just managed it. But we didn't have anything to manage that gap in income for the business. So we had all our outgoings, salaries, rent, software that we'd signed up for 12 months for, all this stuff that we use day to day in the business. We got loads of money going out of the business. And so if you think you get a gap in your income, you've got all those expenses going out every day, money out the bank. Mm-hmm. And if you have a gap in your income, there's not much filling that gap.
Yeah.
So on the positive side, what we've learned from it means we now are in a far better position. And even if we say in 2024 we come across exactly the same thing, the business is now completely prepared to manage this risk and get through it. So I guess to tell you why the negative stuff, why this happened, might be relevant to your businesses. Negative side, 90% probably of our business was project based. Mm-hmm. So this is relevant to some businesses out there.
Big red flag.
It's not. So some businesses, you have income that's just like, we have this guaranteed income over a long period of time. We have clients that pay us this much every month. And you have quite a long period you can forecast ahead to say, well, we know these customers are paying us all this money for the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years.
It's just about retaining them, basically, keeping them happy and keeping them paying.
Whereas because of the nature of how our business has grown, we've got the marketing side of our business and we've got the kind of video and content production side of our business. And if you own a video production agency or a business in that space, you'll know that nearly all of the work traditionally is project based in that kind of world. And I spoke to, when we love talking about Ibiza, spoke to a couple of video production agency owners in Ibiza who said the same thing, that it's just project based, so you never know what's going to come in. So that's how our business was set up. So you can see what could happen here. If you've got these great projects that are really profitable coming in, while they're coming in, it's like, this is great. What a great business. This is really good.
We were flying in January.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. January, February, March. My God, what a business we've got. April. Basically the gap that we had, so a gap in our sales, and really it was just timing. So slightly the economy, bit of a downturn, bit of people worrying about spending money, but mainly it was just timing and a gap between big projects, and that money continued to go out. Another issue, so the second thing that made this harder for us is we've always believed very much previously on employing people full-time and having all of our resource employed in-house. And the reason that made it harder for us was because we have to keep paying those salaries. Unless we really want to screw over people, we've got to keep paying those salaries. And that's our highest priority, to look after the people we have in the business. So what we've moved to now, so we've still got our employed team, and it has actually grown since this period in 2023. But now we're a lot more cautious and balanced. So we now have areas of our business where we have people who are part-time or freelance within our team, that it's much easier to scale up or down with busy times or quiet times. So we can cover the normal level of work with our employed team, and when we have great times, we also have great people to use. And another positive thing, the second thing that is the biggest game changer for us, that's going to help us avoid this, which hopefully you can learn from if you've got this type of business, we started moving much more to a retainer-based model for a lot of our clients. So we're now much closer to 50-50 to monthly retained income from clients and project-based work. So that monthly retained income tends to be less profitable, which you could see as a negative, but we now have that stability of lower profit work that covers all of our expenses, and then we've still got those projects that we are usually slightly more profitable and can be up and down. So that was a big thing to learn, but really excited about 2024 with those two changes and how we overcame that.
I want to ask you something that I think anchors will be thinking.
Yeah.
So obviously that, when it was all going well, brilliant, we're high-fiving, we're dancing around, woo, yeah, the business is going great. When it hit that point of not doing well, firstly, one, how did you feel? And two, how did we get through that? Because I think anchors will be thinking they may be having those situations in the future where it's ups and downs and ups and downs. I know you've given tips of what we've done for the future, but when you're in that moment, how did it make you feel, and what did you do to deal with that?
That's a really good point that I think hopefully people can learn from, because I think we managed it very well, which is why we managed to get out of it and learn from it and then improve. So while we were in it, and I'm in firefighting mode basically of seeing that drop in income, seeing that gap and going towards it. Certainly I would do more next time, but what we did do, I was feeling stressed, and the main stress is we don't necessarily, I don't think we have an ego of like the size of our business or that kind of thing. So I was completely open to like, it might be quieter for a few months, and the growth might not be as projected and that kind of thing. But what stressed me out is any feeling of like, oh shit, what if this continues to go in this direction and we don't need the amount of people or anything like that. If we had to cut people's jobs, that's something I always want to avoid and would have horrible consequences on a load of people that I really care about, basically. So that was the thing that stressed me out personally. But what I did to try to make sure that didn't happen was, once we highlighted that issue of things getting quieter, I basically worked on a worst case scenario forecasting of cash flow. So it's like, if everything is shit and continues to be shit, and this gap is longer than we planned, even though this isn't what we think is going to happen, let's look at cash if the worst thing happens and we don't, and look at, how much longer at this level can we work, and try to make sure we were cutting costs that weren't people, so we could look after our team and look after ourselves as well, make sure we're paying ourselves as business owners. So we looked at costs we could cut to basically extend that worst case scenario plan. So it might be like, because we're set up well as a business, we've had months of money in the bank where it could be shit and the business would survive, but it was cutting the costs that we could, that wouldn't have a negative effect on our clients and our business, to extend that time, to say, okay, so 6 months we could go and it could be really shit and we're still absolutely fine. That was the main thing.
That's really interesting. Something else we did with my sales and marketing hat on that anchors may find useful for future planning to prevent this from happening. You mentioned that we now have 50% retainers, 50% project-based work. The biggest thing we did to get more retainers was just when we were pitching to show how we could help customers, we presented retainer options, which sounds incredibly basic, but previously we would just always present project-based ways we can help customers, because that's what we were used to. But then we thought, actually, we could do this on a retainer model, smaller monthly payments over a period of a year.
And if I'm honest, I don't think either of us thought that our current clients and potential clients would be as interested in a retainer type agreement with us. So that's the reason we didn't push it. But actually, once now we're pitching that, we realise
they all want that.
It is really popular. So we could have done it earlier, but we have to learn these things. But I think the stability for us of the income over a period of time, and working with someone over a period of time, rather than big peaks of activity and then dips, it's the same for a client. If they're confident to work with us, they can sign up to work with us for a year and have the confidence that they've got that stability. They've got a partner they can trust over this long period of time, rather than kind of getting us to, over a 3-month period, shoot this content and have this big project, and then we kind of go away and we might see them again next year when they want to work with us. So I think they appreciate that stability as well.
Yeah.
Have you got anything that can match that level of? But just to put it out there, we lost tens and tens of thousands of pounds
in that short period.
In
that sucked.
About 6 weeks. I think so that's the level of that fuck up there. That was rubbish. Luckily, we made a lot of money the rest of the year, so it was all okay. But anything that can match that, Dan?
Well, I can contribute to that fuck up because I've got a fuck up that actually...
It was your fault, was it?
Well, part of it was my fault. And this one I want to call stop ignoring the data, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have all these things set up in our business around reporting to help us forecast how things are going to look in the future. So we have things we call lead indicators that show us, how many people are we reaching on LinkedIn? How many people are going to our website? How many leads are we generating? What are those leads worth? So we have all these data points that we look at every single week and we can report against on a weekly, monthly basis to help us know, if that data is trending downwards, we're going to be in trouble.
There's a reason for those lead indicators to tell us that. Yeah.
So we had all those in place. We had all that processes set up. But I was the start of last year, I was in a bit of a sort of... I had my, I wouldn't say beer goggles, but I had my sales goggles on because we'd won a really large new account at the start of the year that sort of made me feel like we've smashed it. We've won a big account. Mm-hmm. And I was sort of ignoring all those other metrics to do with lead indicators. And you were saying to me, Dan, this data's going the wrong way. And I was going, no, it's all right. Look at what we've done here. And I just kept ignoring you.
I think this is something people can learn from. Like, we've got these processes and indicators in place that is data that is reliable, has been reliable previously. But I think outside of what the data's saying, you can be both lucky and unlucky in the short term.
Yes.
And I think where the data was saying we're heading for a quieter period, but at that same moment, I know it sounds weird to say got lucky, but we did close a big client that was a great project for us. So yes, that's not all luck, but the timing was luck that at this downturn, at that point was when we closed this big, exciting client. So I think don't let, whether it's good luck or bad luck, don't let that kind of make you judge things differently to what the data's saying. Don't get distracted from that.
I think that's my other lesson, which piggybacks on the back of that, is having a level head no matter how good or bad things are going. So then things were going badly, but I had it's all fine. So it wasn't managing that well. Learning from that, in December we had a record month, and in January now it's going really well, but I'm not celebrating popping bottles of champagne. I'm thinking, I want to continue to have a level head and continue to set things up and close more deals so that we're even more set up.
Yeah, even a year ago, I think the sort of wins that we've had over the last few weeks, you would have been, as you describe, popping bottles. But yeah, I think you are much more level-headed now with the sales. So yes, you can get some big wins, and I think it's important you celebrate those big wins. But I think you do keep your eye on the long term, and not, I suppose, those big ups or downs. Think more like, okay, that's what's happening now, but we need to keep our eye on the horizon and what's in the future and that kind of thing.
I now want to deflect away from me being shit to you being shit again, because I think we've had enough of me. So what else have you ballsed up that you can tell the anchors, and what lessons have you learnt from those mistakes?
I'm embarrassed by this one because I feel like it's something that I have always preached as we've been growing the business. That's really important, and I feel like I've let it slip. So first thing to know is, like, even though I seem perfect to you listeners, and I'm an absolute idol to you, sure.
Wait, quick thing. Lloyd keeps telling the team, because a couple of people have noticed us out and about from the podcast, Lloyd loves coming into work and saying to the team, oh, this guy at the zoo just said, oh, you're Lloyd from Business Anchors and stuff.
I don't say that.
You do say that.
It's weird. We are getting recognised more out in the real world, though.
I mean, not much, though.
No. Oh, no, we're not like Ant and Dec. But, just happens like once a month, and it's a bit weird, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, so basically, because I'm a celebrity now, and I'm an idol to the listeners.
The modest.
Yeah. You probably think, oh, Lloyd's doing everything perfectly, and as he preaches to us on the Business Anchors podcast. But I have really let the side down.
What have you done?
All down. I haven't focused on the business enough and on our business enough, and I've been too focused on delivering work for clients, and it has had negative effects on the business. And I to be fair to myself, it's been challenging with my time, but I've spent months where I think I've been doing good work, but I've been doing good work that other people should be doing, and I've been doing it over a period of time, and then I haven't focused on the things that I can add the most value to, with growing the business, setting up new processes, supporting the team in their roles and supporting their development. And I've been supporting more with managing paid campaigns and different parts of the client work we're delivering and that kind of thing. So I've noticed that now for 2024, basically blanked out a full day every single week to say, no matter what's happening in the business, I'm going to spend that day on our business and not on the working on client projects and that kind of thing, which is hard to do because, we've got a lot of clients and we've got...
All right.
We get a lot of clients. No, but we've got... So there's multiple people that want to speak to me or like want my time.
You're so important.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Dan. What I'm saying is I'm not important, so they should be speaking to other people.
Yeah.
But I think I, for too long, have been like, oh yeah, I'll have a call with you. Yeah, I'll do this. And clients and our team have got used to that. Whereas sometimes I need to say, like, oh no, I can't talk to you on that day, or oh, you can speak to this person. And I've kind of clinging on to things too long. I need to delegate that more so that because I think I'm doing a positive thing of like, oh, I'm helping out with this, but actually it's not the right things to help out with.
Something else we do in our weekly meetings now is Lloyd and I both look at each other's calendars and what we spent our time on and look and try and find things that we shouldn't have done, basically. And the thing that I always say to Lloyd, and he says this to me as well, is about, could you create a Loom video, like a screen recording video where you narrate over it, teaching someone else how to do this so you don't have to do it? And we're constantly trying to find those things. So anchors, if you're doing anything that a virtual assistant or an assistant or someone else could be doing, then create a Loom video and create
One of our clients shared something they did as well recently that I thought was really good and has made me shift how I think. I think they had a business coach or something that took them through a task which put all the things they're spending their time in different boxes. So like the £10 an hour box, £50 an hour box, and like £500 an hour box kind of thing of like the work you're doing, what is it kind of worth to the business and that kind of thing. And because in his position as a business owner, and I think in our position as well, there's certain things I can add value to that can have a massive effect, positive effect on the business, and we should both be focusing on those. But I've caught myself doing a lot of the £10 an hour boxes that other people could do, like booking travel and random things like that, dealing with the cleaning contracts. And I shouldn't be spending, like, it's best for our team and the business for me to not focus on that and focus on the
You're saying
the
you're better than that,
stuff.
right?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You try to make me sound like an arsehole. But yeah, I think that working on that more valuable stuff is better for everyone in the team eventually, even if it's like, oh, Lloyd hasn't helped me out with this thing, 10-minute thing. It's like, no, but I'm doing this thing that's going to make your life easier.
A few times recently, I've asked you to do something, you've just said, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it. Hurts me every time I say that. But I'm trying to be more honest. I used to say, yeah, cool, I'll do that today. And now I actually say, I think it was yesterday you asked something and I said, I can't prioritize that at the moment, but early next week I'll get to it.
I took a mental note of that.
And
next time you ask for something.
No, it's not about not being helpful, but I can't prioritize things that aren't actually best for the business.
Whatever.
So I'm trying to get better on that. It might make people hate me even more than they do. So that's you must have fucked up more stuff because it seems like it's been very negative towards me and I'm actually perfect. So surely there's more stuff from you.
There's something else which I think is a big lesson that I reckon a lot of the anchors are doing this as well, which is putting off stuff that will drastically improve your life in the long run because it's an effort at the start. And there's a book called Eat That Frog, which describes this really well. And it's all about looking at your most difficult, biggest task of the day that you really want to put off and you want to do the fun stuff at the start and just eat that frog at the start of the day. And in that book, there's like 21 lessons that I'd really recommend reading. I'm going to reread it because I need to remind myself. But just to give you some examples of this. So one thing that I put off for ages, I've had the same computer for years and it's really slow and shit. And if you think I spend 95% of my working life on a computer and it's slow and shit, and Lloyd's used it a few times and he's been like, oh, how do you deal with this?
Yeah.
Like click something in it.
When Dan was on holiday a couple of times, because obviously he's just like going on holiday while I'm working hard in the office, I've gone to like access something on his computer and just thought, how do you work like this? This is so slow. But I obviously mentioned about a year ago to him. But,
yeah, and then literally at the end of last year, think that all that time wasted. At the end of last year, I got one of our Macs that wasn't being used, and a few weeks ago set it up with like 2 screens and stuff, and it is insane. I can't stop telling Lloyd about how amazing. I was sending photos in our WhatsApp group, like, look at my.
It is hard sometimes to get round, because these sort of things that, like, I think are always at the bottom of your to-do list, and I'm sure there's a process to manage this better than we do, and something we can learn. Because you're saying eat that frog of like big tasks, but actually like, oh, look for a new computer, or like research into what, that's probably a small thing on your to-do list, and actually it's just always been at the bottom.
But in my mind it was a bigger thing because I had everything set up on my current computer. I knew, and it's actually has taken me a bit longer with the new computer to get used to things, but now it's just so much more efficient. So
you do it and then you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? So if there's anything that you anchors are putting off that you think, yeah, that's going to take me 2 hours today, but it's going to save me a day a week for the next 6 months, then do it.
Here's some more examples. Putting off properly integrating HubSpot into our business. We've been using HubSpot in a very small way for years, but it has so much more functionality. Last year, I spent some time actually looking into it, and it's completely changed our business for the better by using all of the different tools and functionality on it. So that's another thing that put off for ages. Another thing is getting a virtual assistant. I've just been doing everything that I shouldn't be doing, and now have an amazing virtual assistant that every morning I go to my inbox and they have cleared it and put things into certain folders, replied to people, updated our CRM system, done all these things that took me ages.
Just quick shout out to Zemba. We work with Zemba for what Dan's talking about, and we definitely recommend them. So
definitely recommend
let us
them.
know if you want to be referred to them.
Also, putting off sorting our website out. Like, because we've just had loads on and I've been a bit shit and haven't prioritised it, our website slowly deteriorated and got to a point where it's just not good enough. It's not reflecting all the great work we're doing. And only just now we're hiring a developer and designers to redesign it. I think that's something that
other like growing businesses can hopefully relate to. It's things like that. If you are growing and improving over time, if there's any element of your business that you leave for too long, it's not going to reflect the high level of the other areas of the business. And obviously, it seems so stupid for a marketing agency letting your website be something that is lagging behind. But that's just the truth of it. If you're growing, there's lots of things you've got to put your time into. And yeah, if you leave it too long, which we did, I'm sure we've lost potential business because people would have seen us various places on the internet and think, yeah, I'll get in touch with them, gone to our website, and then kind of been almost like disappointed, like, oh, hang on, this doesn't match the work that I've heard them talking about doing. So we need to make sure that our website reflects the true standard and the value of the work. And yeah, I think anchors of growing businesses might be able to relate to that.
To finish off with, there's something I saw in your notes that's actually a joint fuck up.
Yeah, I've got a bonus fuck up.
Oh yes, go on.
Bonus fuck up.
There's both
from
of us.
Dan and Lloyd. Third person. Dan and Lloyd. Oh fucking hell. Dan and I. Joint fuck up. Okay. We have, and it relates to Dan's last point really, but we have both let things slide for months that should have been resolved sooner. And so the fuck up has been not keeping each other accountable as leaders in the business. I think it can be easy if you're an owner of a business. You might not have people asking you the questions to check that you're doing what you need to and you don't let anything slide. And Dan and I think were being a bit too nice to each other, and we'd congratulate each other on the wins and that kind of thing, but we weren't
critical enough, were we?
Right, we weren't critical enough. And it sounds like a negative thing, but it's been so positive for us. So now every week we
criticize.
We have a meeting criticizing it. No, but we bring up anything that we think that the other person's responsible for that we think might be slipping, or just checking, oh, have you said you were going to be doing this, has that happened? Or you said you'd manage the team to get this done, has that happened? And we had these meetings set up previously, but we just didn't prioritize them. They went down the list, and we probably did like 1 in 3, 1 in 4. And now we make sure we do it every single week. And sometimes we just have like one thing we'll quickly check in with the other. Oh, you said you were going to do this. Have you done that? And it's like, yeah, I did. And it's nice and positive. But some weeks is a bit of a revelation for each other where Dan will say to me, oh, you said that you were going to produce these guides so the team could follow to do this, this and this.
And you haven't.
Or you said that to improve that work for that client, we were going to implement this. and I haven't done that yet. And so we then set an action and make sure it gets done. And it feels rubbish if you go 2 weeks in a row saying, "Oh no, I haven't." You feel
like, why are you not
rubbish? So we get it done now, and it's massively helped us holding each other accountable.
There's even an example. I won't give all the details, but of a client who I critiqued you and said, "You said about focusing on this. Are you going to do it?" And then that nudged you to do the thing, and it basically helped us get a huge client win and get national press and stuff because you'd taken certain actions that you'd sort of been put into the bottom of the list.
Half an hour meeting a week, I think, has added 6 figures to our business just from the actions we've taken from those things that have been pointed out.
Can I quickly end with some quick fire fuck ups?
Yeah.
Okay. Quick, just to make you all feel better about yourself. 1, almost got scammed with someone saying they were going to advertise on our podcast recently, and it was a scammer. 2, only achieved 3 out of my 8 goals for 2023. 3, ended the year with my worst Whoop band health stats ever. Ended the year feeling more tired and drained than ever.
Yeah, and you look shit.
It took the whole year to realise we needed to change the way we pitch to win more business. And left it too late to sort out our crappy website and probs put off loads of new clients. So there's just some nice quick fire fuck-ups for you.
Fire fuck-ups. Dan is rubbish. So am I. Hopefully this episode, you might have learnt from the specific things we've spoken about, but hopefully also you might just be thinking like, oh, actually I have been putting off that thing, or I should change that. I think reflecting on the things you haven't done well is almost more important than reflecting on the things you have done well. So we've learnt massive lessons from that. Hopefully if you reflect on 2023, you can too. I've enjoyed this episode, Dan.
Yeah, enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys have found it interesting. If you have, please click subscribe. I know like it's the classic thing that every podcaster or YouTuber says, but it helps us and we're doing this for you for free. So you bloody owe us.
Yeah, you do. Go for it. Cool. I think that's the pod. So we'll see you in your ears next week.
Just before you go, we want to take a second to talk about our podcast sponsors, Adobe Express. Adobe Express enables anyone to quickly and easily create standout social graphics, logos, flyers, banners, and more on the web and mobile. There are so many amazing features and benefits to using Adobe Express. You can choose from thousands of beautifully designed templates to inspire you and get started. You can quickly remove a background, convert JPEG to PNG, videos to GIFs, merge videos, change video speeds, and more. Apply your brand to your content in just a tap and collaborate with your colleagues through shared templates and libraries. You'll also get access to the entire diverse, royalty-free Adobe stock photo collection created by the world's best professionals and choose from over 20,000 licensed Adobe fonts, as well as their collection of curved typesets, grids, and exquisite font pairings. You can apply standout photo effects in seconds, discover easy bite-sized tips to get you started on the Learn tab, or connect on one of their creator community spaces to stay close to our team and fellow users. Now that's a lot of features to get your teeth into. Click the link in the description of the episode to give Adobe Express a go today, and we'll see you next week.